Alright, starting in on circles, all kinds of shapes. Yesterday you did some 3D stuff, today we're looking at 2D shapes. Specifically circles. And a circle is a special 2D shape. If you'd like to have the fancy definition, there it is. Where the outside edge is all the exact same distance from a central point. And that distance from the center of the circle to the outside edge is the radius. Short form is a lowercase r. If we measure the distance through the center of a circle, often we draw it, vertically like this, but it could be any direction. Assuming I could draw a straight line, it could be from here to here, which is almost a straight line. That would be the diameter, distance across a circle through its center. Short form is d. When you get to grade 9, you will learn that if you were to go through a circle, like this, not through the center, a straight line, we call that a chord. Anyways, continuing on. On my diagram here, I've shown we've got a diameter all the way down through the middle. We have a radius coming from the middle to the outside edge. We could also think of this diameter, this is our middle point. This diameter all the way across is really no difference than two radiuses. And while we're talking about radiuses, that's really not the word, because English is such a wonderful language. The plural for radius is radii. Radii. Anyways, fun fact there for you. So the diameter of a circle is 2 times the radius. The radius of a circle is half of the diameter. All right. So now, how to draw these circles? Well, a couple things. You're going to need to use your compass. Okay, that is the geometry set instrument that has a pokey thing at one end and a space for a pencil at the other end. And so how do you do this for a radius of 2 centimeters? Well, in the middle of your page, draw a line segment 2 centimeters long. You're going to set your compass point, let's make this at one end, not a tone end. Not sure what a tone end is, but anyways, at one end, it's not going to work. And your pencil at the other. Rotate your compass or your page to draw the circle. Practice that. So draw me a circle in here, radius of 2 centimeters. Give that a try. All right, draw a circle with a radius the length of this line. And so same thing, you're going to set the pokey end at one end, pencil end at the other, and you can move that. I always mark on my page with a little X or a little plus sign or a little cross. Try to actually have the lines meet in the middle where the center of my compass is going to go. That way, if it moves, I can always find out where it was easily. And then go ahead and do that. All right. Practice until you can do that quite consistently without things skipping around. Sometimes it's easier to do this if you set the pokey end not just on one piece of paper and a desk underneath, but rather on like your notebook or something like that. So there's a little bit more for it to grab to. Right. There's an assignment to go with that. It's a pretty easy one, so I'm going to go through some more notes with you here right away first. All right, so ratio of circumference, C over D, circumference divided by diameter, is close to 3. Therefore, the circumference is about 3 times the diameter. What is the circumference, you might ask? Well, the circumference is the fancy word we use for like the perimeter of a circle. It's the distance around the outside. All right? So coming back to this, circumference divided by diameter for any circle is close to 3. And this ratio is actually a rounded number when we say 3. It's not actually 3. And the fun thing about circles is that there's some cool stuff going on mathematically here. This ratio is a rounded number. It actually represents a constant value called pi. This is not the kind of pie that you're going to go home and eat. It stands for a Greek letter. Pi is how we spell it, not P-I-E. That's the kind you eat. Pi is the kind we use in math. So pi, represented by the Greek letter, which is a symbol. And I'm going to try to draw this nicely. Something like that. Okay, two kind of curvy lines and a curved line over the top of the two of them. If you have a pi button on your calculator, you are going to find that it gives you a fairly long number for pi. When I use my calculator, it gives me 3.141592653589793, and that number in fact keeps on going. But if I'm gonna, write that out, 3.141592653. There are people who, this is their life's goal. I don't know if it's their life's goal. There are people who try to memorize pi to hundreds of decimal places and have all kinds of interesting tricks for doing that. You can do that if you'd like. It's not going to really help you a whole lot in math, but it will give you some pretty amazing nerd cred. So you can go ahead and do that if you'd like. 8, 9, 7. I don't have very good nerd cred here because I missed a 9. 7. This should be a 9 and then a 3. Anyways, your calculator is going to have less digits probably than mine, but that's where we're at here. So pi is equal to circumference divided by diameter. Now, it is not easy to measure the circumference of a circle. Measuring curvy things is not something that we are good at, but we can measure straight lines. We have things called rulers that do that. And so to find the circumference of a circle, the circumference is equal to pi multiplied by the diameter, or pi d. All right? Or, remembering back to what we talked about yesterday, diameter is equal to 2 times the radius, so we can also say c is equal to, and we do this in this order, 2 times pi times the radius. All right. So, continuing on here, with this example, we're going to estimate the circumference of this circle. Well, pi is about 3, the diameter is about 5. 3 times 5, 15. Calculate the circumference. Sorry. About 15 meters. All right, calculate. We're going to use the formula. C, circumference is equal to pi times the diameter. Circumference is equal to pi times 5.2. Circumference is equal to, and we can use 3.14 as the approximate value for pi. That is going to be good enough for anything that you do in junior high and even high school. So pi 5.2 times, pi is not 5.2, sorry, pi times 5.2, using 3.14 as the estimate there, is going to be 16.328 is what my calculator spits out. I want to be nearest 10th, so that's 1 decimal place, 16.3 meters. Was my estimate reasonable? Yeah, it's not bad. It's obviously going to be small because I rounded this down and pi got rounded down. Continuing on. Here's another one. Give this a try. Again, 3 times 40, about 120 millimeters. Let's calculate this. C equals pi times d. C equals pi times 40. Make sure we know what the units are. It's going to be millimeters. And pi times 40 is going to be 125.6. Millimeters. All right. So pretty close to that 120 we came up with. All right, moving on. Let's use the radius. Okay, not hard here either. Given the radius is 6.1, remember that our formula is going to be circumference is equal to 2 times pi times the radius. So our estimating, okay, well, let's call it 6. 2 times pi, we're going to estimate on 3. 2 times 3 is 6 times the radius is 6 is 36. That's our estimate. Let's calculate this. So circumference is equal to, and I'm going to substitute my numbers into pi. I'm going to leave that as pi because pi is a number, times the radius, which is going to be 6.1 meters. And my circumference here is going to be 2 times 3.14 times 6.1, 38.308 is 38.3. And that's going to be meters. None of it's really hard. You do have to do a little bit of thinking sometimes. Make sure you're using the right formula. Make sure you know what it's talking about: circumference, radius, diameter. If we go all the way back to the very beginning here, one more thing we could have labeled here is the total distance around the outside is the circumference. Thanks. Have fun. You've got lots of assignments. Get at them.